today's movement series is all about planks. This is a great movement. It's an isometric movement, usually, just meaning that we hold that position, keep the muscle contracted rather than moving, such as bicep curl and things like that. So it's a great isometric strengthening exercise for the core, but there are multiple things working in the body during a plank. The shoulders, the legs, you should be engaging the glutes. So it really is a full body movement when done appropriately. So in looking at the plank, we have quite a few things that we can progress and quite a few things that we can modify. But we're going to be looking at the most basic movement, the plank, and then just a couple of variations above that and a little bit more regressed. So with the plank, with proper form, what we want to do, whether you're on your elbows or whether you're on your hands, you want them to be right under your shoulders. You don't want to be out here. You don't want to be out here. You want them to be right under your shoulders, or if you're on your elbows, you want your elbow to be right under your shoulder, not out here, and again, kind of not out to the side or too close together. While we're here, if you are on your elbows with your hands, it is best if you have some fists. A lot of people like to hold their hands together like that, which it's not too terrible if you do that, but this is the proper form if you have your hands out as a fist. Now, whether you are, again, on your hands or on your elbows, what we want is a direct line from your shoulders to your point of contact on the floor, whether that's your knees or if that's your toes. We want a nice straight line. We don't want our rear up in the air. We don't want to be kind of sagging. We want it to be a nice straight line, nice and solid and strong. So, sure we get some, and so you can see. You'll do is tuck your toes. Again, same kind of thing with the feet. You don't want them directly together. You want them about shoulder distance apart. And see, from the shoulder, you have a fairly direct line down to the heels. Same thing if you're here. Not this. Not this. Not this. This. Nice straight line, keeping the core nice and tight. So before you go into the plank, what you want to do is really start to pull in the belly, contract the core, not sucking in your breath. You're not holding your breath, but you do want to keep the core nice and tight. Pull your belly button in towards your spine so that you can hold that during the plank. And again, whether you're on your elbows, on your knees, on your toes, on your hands, as long as you're keeping those basic things engaged and the proper form, you should get a good core workout. Good core, So, a couple different modifications, like I mentioned, elbows versus hands. That could be easier for some people, could be harder for some people. I feel that on the hands, you are really engaging the shoulders because you're having to stabilize a little bit more. But I feel that on your elbows, you're in a lower incline. You're at less of an incline. And so you're having to work a little bit more with the core. You can be on your knees. That is obviously a little bit easier than on your toes. And even here, I feel like this may be a bit easier, whether you're on your toes or relaxed, either's fine, is a bit easier than here. Keeping the core nice and tight. I do want to mention, if you want to really work the core in the plank position, or maybe not just the core, the whole body, what you want to do is keep the shoulders back and down. So you're pulling your shoulder blades back and down. You're going to engage the quads and engage the glutes. So not only are you just holding the core in, but all of these other things are engaging as well. And you're gonna start shaking a whole lot sooner than just focusing on the core. Another variation would be an incline plank. This would make it easier. So having something elevated and having your elbows up here, so that way you're at, I guess, more of an incline. That way it would be a little easier. And again, you can be here on the elbows, or you can be on the hands. A variation to make it more challenging would be an unstable surface, whether it's for your elbows, your upper body, or the lower body. So something like a ball or a bozu, whether you're one side or the other, your feet are on here, your elbows are on here. This can create a little bit more instability and making the core work a little bit harder to keep you stable. But yeah, that is, those are the basics to the plank. I would strongly suggest, if you have access to it, or even just using your phone, using a mirror to really make sure that you are keeping that straight line, because I do see it more often than not when our hips start to really drop down, and then, or when our hips are too far up in the air and not so much good form, just even walking around the gym. I would love to go around and give everybody tips, but that's not what they're there for. But if you can't, on the floor, hold a good plank in that position, go ahead and do one of the regressions. Go to your knees, have something a little more elevated, and get that down. Get stronger there before you progress to something a little bit more challenging. All right, see you next time.